Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Weekly Ring, and I'm your host, Sinclair Bennett. Today is a virtual holiday episode, and I'm really excited because today we'll be highlighting Nzima Muhammad. As you can see, we're inside of the virtual studio for the first time. So let's look now and learn a little bit more about Nzinga. And at the end of the episode, we'll watch the holiday tree lighting with Destiny.
What inspired you to become an artist, and what type of artist are you?
So I typically work with acrylic painting and portrait work. What inspired me, I've always been into drawing. I used to do anime and chibi characters and things like that. I didn't take art seriously though until I was about 13, 14. I was doing cartoons and things like that, but I decided to work on realism and portrait work and really take that seriously. And I've been doing it ever since. One of my first real jobs was actually painting murals for the city back home. So that's how I really got my blending right. That's how I learned about doing skin tones and how to, paint undertones, because not all people have the same undertones. So working with blues and reds and yellows and warm tones all under skin, and that shows now in how I paint.
Okay, can you explain to me your favorite painting and why you painted that painting?
My favorite painting is not finished yet. That's my favorite painting, it's not finished yet. But my favorite painting so far that I have done, it is called Zara. It is a painting, black girl looking over her shoulder. She's holding a blue rose and she has roses in her hair and the roses are falling down. I like that painting because that painting I did during the pandemic, of course. I was going through, as we all were going through, a lot of grief. And so that painting was just to help me, get back with myself, but also representing the stages of grief in that, it's falling out, but it's also, blossoming, but some roses in the painting are bigger than others. They're in different stages, but also it's a stage of life as well, a stage of growth and development. So that was my state of mind when I was painting it, and it's my favorite now because it's beautiful.
So let's go back to the painting that is unfinished. Why is that your favorite, and what is the meaning behind that so far?
The one that I haven't finished, it's using Yara Shahidi as a muse, but it is basically the sugar skull from Dia de los Muertos, when, people will dress up and they'll have, they'll paint their faces as skulls, right? But it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And I have to work on the roses. I hate painting roses, ironically, but they come out beautiful. It's a beautiful process, even though struggle comes with it. It's my favorite because I'm doing it digitally. I haven't done digital artwork before. This year has actually been the first year I'm trying it out. So it's a new medium completely, but I love the process of it, and it's really good so far.
So when you're painting, how do you know that a painting is going to turn out good? What gives you that inclination?
You have to feel it. Every painting that I go through has an ugly stage. And I can't judge it based on its ugly stage, which is a lesson in itself. But when going through that stage, I can feel when I know this is going to be longer than just a stage. This is going to be the entire piece.
Who helped you with your artistry when you was growing up?
I want to say my mom did. She would have me, if it was even a math problem, her solution was, okay, we'll draw it out. If it was English and I had a hard time understanding the concept, okay, well, draw out what you think this means. Even it got to a point where I would even illustrate my own stories. I would write my own stories and illustrate them. So I feel like that's when it clicked over to me just doing it by myself without her saying I had to.
When you were little, did you think you were good at art?
I don't think I knew if I was good or not. I think that once I started taking it more seriously is when I really started to do comparisons that didn't need to be. But I started to judge myself super hard, and I had a lot of works I just threw out. I didn't like it. I didn't want to see it again, so I would just throw it out. It didn't matter if I was working on a piece in public or, just doing something real quick. I would instantly tear it out and I would throw it away. Because I was always comparing myself, trying to be better. And then I was comparing myself to other people, maybe I saw from YouTube or whoever who I learned from and tried to learn this technique from, but it didn't look like theirs. And it took me a minute to realize it didn't have to, and that it probably shouldn't either if you're trying to be original. You can use your technique, but what makes it yours? So I don't think when I was younger I knew, but as I got older, I think that's when it mattered more if I was or not.
What put Bennett College on your radar?
When I was a senior in high school, I went to this HBCU fair downtown with my mom, and I walked through a whole lot of tables, signed a lot of cards that they would get in touch with me and send me programs that I could get into. They never sent me any programs. But I just went through and I saw Bennett, and on the little card shaped like a bell, it said interdisciplinary studies, history, but it also said Africana studies and women's studies. And so instantly I thought, oh, they're all one thing. And I thought that was good because I have a hard time deciding something sometimes. And so I looked up, like, what is interdisciplinary studies? That was my first time ever hearing it. And it was basically your self-designed major, whatever works for you, not to choose a major. And I thought that was attractive for someone who has a hard time choosing just one. So I said, well, why not do one, but you're really doing all three? So that's what attracted me to Bennett, and now I'm here.
Does Bennett support your art?
So I would say Bennett supports it, especially with the recent About Love scholarship, in which we had to present our works of art, and the responses that I got from those who were judging, it was really positive, and they were really seriously thinking about taking that and creating something for the campus to enjoy. So I would say yes.
How do you hope to inspire others with your art?
I hope for my artwork to be something that people can look at as an example of not being afraid to do what you would like to do, even if you don't think it's good enough where you are, but just to keep going anyways. A lot of my artwork also, especially when it comes to portrait work, a lot of them are, of course, Black people, but particularly Black women. And a lot of them, a good amount of them, are darker skinned. And they usually have some sort of vibrant color with them. It doesn't matter what it is. Some vibrant color. And so I would also hope to inspire people who, for whatever reason, don't associate dark skin or Black people with vibrancy and feel like, Black girls can't be vibrant, but also I have a lot of pastel colors too, which is attributed to softness. And saying that a lot of Black women, especially dark-skinned Black girls, you can't be soft, you can't be feminine, you can't be vulnerable. So I hope to inspire a change in that narrative also.
How will you use art in your future?
So I aspire to be a historian, and I feel like art for so long has been very Eurocentric. And art doesn't necessarily, in this sense, doesn't necessarily mean painting either. It's also the portrayal of people of color in the media. That's also an art form that I feel like needs to be changed. And I feel like it's due to the lack of historical context and historical competence people really have when it comes to our culture, our history. So I feel like art will help me have a framework matching with history in my studies and in my career.
What is a way that people can support you in your art?
I do have a website. Right now, is currently housed at www.artpal.com/Queen Nzinga. I also have an Instagram page for my artwork. It's called Z Brushes, Z-I, and then Brushes. It's where a lot of my artwork can be viewed, and then my website for purchase.
So it seems like this semester has gone by really quickly. Let's check out some of the programs that Nzinga was a part of.
Thank you, Dr. Favors, for that amazing keynote address. Really appreciate it. As someone who is a recent Belle, the emphasis that you put on us supporting our own is something that I think is really important, especially when we know we are often, as a people, often charged with being the racist ones for supporting our own. Especially for Black women to take up space and you honoring us by acknowledging the space that we took up and pushing us to continue to do so is something that's very important and something that I'm grateful for you for doing, definitely. And I'm excited for this discussion to take place. My name is Nzinga Muhammad. I am a senior in interdisciplinary studies history major from Rochester, New York, and I will be reciting an original poem called Green Thumb, Black Skin. My thumb is green and my skin is black. And in fact, it's an intersection between race and the environment that not everyone gets. It's a war and a struggle on all fronts. They don't care about Black folks and trees unless they're hanging from it or it's blunts. Did you catch that? And actually, green is the one thing white supremacy sees. No one is colorblind when it comes to dead presidents, just dead people of color. There's too many green thumbs with black skin lacking the attention they need. Why are we waiting in polluted waters? God didn't trouble these. This is an oppressor's doing, ruining the earth once clean, the audacity of colonialism. How do you poison the land you didn't discover? And why did Flint have to fight for clean water? And why indigenous folks have to march against another act of injustice. Don't reduce our struggle, reuse our land to recycle our culture. The infrastructures of colonialism created pipelines of environmental devastation. But newsflash, the climate did not change with emancipation. The climate will not change with the pollution of anti-Blackness attacking every facet of our lives. It's almost as if they never expected us to survive. My thumb is green and my skin is black. That's an intersection that I hope you catch. Because why every Black child on my block has a history with asthma attacks, the gag is not a coincidence that your environment correlates with your existence. The Black folks have way too much experience with not being able to breathe. So how do we fix it? It's not a white thing, it's the right thing. Our ancestors were environmentalists without the term. The respect for nature was firm in their values. How do you not reclaim this work? But even if you aren't Black, the greatest revolution is giving back. Whatever form of resistance you can access, from the dorm rooms of honors to bars, I hereby lead a charge for bells. Leave your thumbprint all over this world so everything you touch grows, thrives, and lives. Thank you.
And Nzinga, you shared a powerful poem with us today. How did you feel like the overall program went? How did you feel like your poem was received?
I think that the program went really well. It was a beautiful program. It was a great charge to Bells and everyone else who was not a Belle to be committed to environmental justice. My poem, I believe it was received pretty well by those who are committed to that change.
What draws you to this work in the environment?
I think it's because of my major and training as an interdisciplinary studies major. I see a lot of intersections between history, between environmental justice, between gender, between race. And so I think that's what draws me to it, is because it not only addresses, it's not just about, planting a tree. It's about the waste that is in the water. It's about how women are disproportionately affected, how Black people are disproportionately affected, people of color in general. And it's a wholesome team, and that's why every Belle is fit for it.
Nzinga has a lot of talents, one of them being the violin. Let's check out one of her selections.
When I play the song, I think of people dancing and being happy and jovial, but also being calm and peace with themselves and with music in general.
Recently, President Walsh hosted an event for the Bennett alumni to update them on the status of Bennett College. I had the pleasure of being a part of that panel. Here are some highlights from that event.
But I just want to pause because I really do think it's important in this conversation about understanding, like, well, why does the money matter? The money matters because it's investment in our students, it's investment in their future, therefore it's investment in the future of the globe. So I want them to just say, and I'm going to go around, I'll call on you guys just to make it, if it makes it easier, just to say, so I'm going to start with Sinclair. What brought you to Bennett? Because you're new to Bennett. What brought you to Bennett? Why Bennett?
So I chose Bennett because of their commitment to individual growth. I'm actually a transfer student, and the school that I was at previously, the administration and the teachers weren't really around, didn't really surround me with what I needed to get where my goals were, depending on what department I was in. So I changed majors as well. So here I'm in the education program, and Dr. Colson and Dr. Myrie have all been very supportive of my goals.
Spoke with Destiny, and they're getting ready to light the tree in Center City Park. I know a lot of you are not in Greensboro, but we would like you to be a part of this event.
It's 5:58 and we are awaiting the Christmas lighting. It's a lot going on out here, but I think everybody's pretty excited about the Christmas tree light. I know I am. So we're just proceeding along, just trying to, get closer to the tree as it begins to light. And we're just scoping out to see if we can find some families because we all are awaiting the lighting of the tree. Oh, it's carolers. I wonder if the 9, 8, 7,